Today, we're going to be going over how to end the chaos in your mind. If you have suffering in your mind, if you have a lot of anxiety and worry, this is going to be for you today. So, quick backstory here before we dive in. When I was younger, I got cheated on my first love, and this caused me to become very insecure, to cause me to experience anxiety and worry, and also just to come from a place of control and not trust. And it affected many of my other relationships. It affected the way I saw love. It made my love more conditional rather than unconditional. And it affected my relationships and many other areas of my life. But looking back, honestly, it's one of the greatest gifts of my life, though, because again, I changed it. I changed the situation to something that helped empower me and get me much, much better in my life. So I'm going to share with you guys here on how I was able to get my mind back under control, to end the anxiety and the worry in my mind, how I was able to get my body out of the survival state and my perspective on life and my views on life from survival to thriving, and how I was able to turn this into something so much greater. So, first and foremost, when this event happened, the first things that it caused is it caused a war in my mind. It caused me to constantly be running and chasing in my mind. My thoughts were constantly racing. That's a massive sign that you're in survival mode, by the way. And it was just like I remember in this situation, my mind was just always racing and thinking and trying to predict things, and it was just chaotic. There was no control. If you almost kind of look at yourself as an energy ball, how I would perceive myself back then is my energy ball would be like this. It'd be chaotic, up and down and all over the place. There was no control. And understanding now is that basically it's just that my brain, my body, myself at that time, my human self was not in a safe place. They didn't think and feel safe. So things were chaotic, right? It's like if a bear's chasing you, you feel sporadic, you feel chaotic, like you're all over the place. You don't feel safe. You're trying to find safety. But when you're dealing with anxiety and worry, there's nothing really to grab onto in the mind. So it's just racing and racing and racing and racing. And a lot of us, what we do is we try to fight it, right? We try to fight it. We try to distract ourselves from it. When in reality, you want to do the opposite. You don't want to fight it. You want to let it in. You want to face it for it is. So I'm going to share with you exactly how I was able to do that, to create that inner peace, to get back to a state where I don't control and I really do get into that flow and that inner peace and heal the mind and heal the war in your mind. So here's how I did it. So this event happened, it created this chaos in my mind. The first thing that I did was I decided that I'm not a victim of my reality. Okay. And I didn't put a label on myself of like, I am now this anxious person. I am now this person. No, I saw it as this happened and I'm going to change it. I don't like this. I'm going to change it. So I got the books. I started studying. I watched the podcasts. I put it into practice, physical action. And the first thing that I did was, it was really helpful, was that I took this anxiety, whenever the anxiety would happen, whenever something would trigger that anxiety or that worry, I started to create it as its own thing. So I looked at the anxiety as it's not me, right? I'm the sky, anxiety is the cloud. So I form anxiety as this black blob in my mind. So as soon as I would get a trigger where I'd start getting anxious and I would start worrying, I separate myself from it. And I would look at it as, okay, there's a black blob. Like, here it comes. And I'd welcome it in. I wouldn't fight it. So as soon as I noticed the trigger and I noticed my mind started sporadically thinking and worrying, I'd welcome it in. And then the second practice that's really needed here is the practice of becoming the observer of your life. Separate yourself so much from you want to almost you don't want to get so caught up in all of this. What I mean by caught up in all of this is that a lot of us, we let the external world tell us who we are. My partner did this to me and I don't like it. It made me feel bad, right? My job or my boss is putting this stuff on me, it makes me feel stressed. No, people are not, it's not up to people how you feel. It's up to you. So you want to take back ownership. You want to claim back what you can genuinely control. And understand that if you always try to live your life based off your happiness is based off your external world, I'll be happy when it's the liberals in place or the conservatives in place, or I'll be happy when this changes in the government or when this changes in my job or my relationships. It's a loser's game because you can't control the external world. But you know what you can control is you can control your inner state. You control your inner state, you control how you perceive things, how you act. You can control that. So let's grip on the control of that. So what I did here is I started to create a filter between the external world, the events and people and situations, and myself. And this filter was simply me being the observer and not reacting to life anymore. So as soon as a trigger would pop up, a person would say something, an event would happen that might cause me to start overthinking and worrying and having anxiety again. What I would do is I'd take a step back, I'd get my breath under control. By the way, I practice this through meditation. I get my breath under control and I'd separate myself from the situation. Here's what's going on, right? I want to react to it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to observe the entire thing. And it takes practice. It's not going to happen overnight. It's something that takes practice where you don't want to react, observe, get the breath under control. The mind and the body, the way to ground the mind, right, when it's going crazy, is get that breath under control. That's why when you exercise, you run your guts out, you feel that almost high feeling. Those endorphins, right? You feel that, like my mind's calm, my mind's clear. It's because you get all this crazy sporadic energy up here that's not in control, that's not under control, right? It's survival, it's safety acting. So when you work out, when you let go of that stress, when you push that energy out, you ground yourself more. You come back down to earth and say, "Oh, I'm safe. I'm secure. I'm good." So I create that mental filter in my mind. And that way, when these events and these things would happen, instead of me getting back into that anxiety loop and then overthinking, I just perceive it and I'd say, okay, I see the situation, but I decide not to react to it. I decide I'm not going to react to it. And the more and more and more I was able to practice that and do it over and over and over again, I then start becoming resilient to the external world. And my focus more so became on my internal state of being. Make sure I'm calm, cool, and collected. So practices, just as a side note, practices that can also help with that is as a human, sleep. You got to sleep, eating good food, watch your caffeine intake, stuff like that that might cause anxiety, move your body consistently. Those are all things that really, really do help. Really, really do help. So that's the first step, though. So, first step was separating myself from this anxiety and worry. Second step was creating the mental filter in my mind. Third step is now changing your entire perspective and your beliefs. Here's what I want you to think is understand this. Anxiety and worry is a projection. It is a creation that is coming from something deeper. And this is where I want to empower you because a lot of people will say, I'm just an anxious person. I'm a worried person. No, no, it's just a piece of you. It's a part of you. It's experience that you're going through, but that's not who you are. And you don't have to be that way forever. And please do not argue to stay there when you're wanting to change. Open that up. So, the third piece is changing your overall perspective and understanding the bigger picture. Here's what I mean is that anxiety and worry is a creation of your core beliefs and your fears. Think of it like this. If you knew 1,000% every single thing in your life happened for you for the best possible outcome, it was all made exactly perfectly for you to set you up in the best way, to get you exactly where you want to go. That if you just kept going for 7 more days, you would get there. Would anxiety and worry exist then? No, right? Anxiety and worry cannot exist when you are fully embodied in trust. Anxiety and worry do not exist in the present moment. Anxiety and worry exist in the future or the past only. What I mean by that is that you only experience anxiety and worry when you're up in your mind, when you're thinking in your mind. But remember that the brain The brain, when it comes to perceiving reality, right? If you think and feel something, so if you're always thinking about your past and this terrible events that has happened to you, or worrying events that happen, you're experiencing in real time. Your poor body and nervous system is going through that in real time, over and over and over again. But when you genuinely get present in the present moment, you're here now. Anxiety does not exist. Worry does not exist. You're fully here and now. Worry and anxiety only exist when you go into that survival state. So then the question becomes, what are the beliefs, the perspectives, the meaning that I'm giving these situations, how I'm defining things? What is it that's causing me to feel the need to be in this survival state? What's causing me to feel the need that I can't just be safe and secure now? That I can't go with this flow? What is the resistance in my life? What is the resistance that I'm dealing with that is shaping me in a way where I'm anxious and worried about things? Either these people or things not working out or not going my way, or what if this happens? The what if, the what if, the what if. Quick side note, change what if to so what. Watch what happens and question it. So what? So what? Because when you question that, it'll lead you to it is what it is. And the suffering comes from you not accepting what is. So, when it comes to anxiety and worry, again, remember that this is coming from your survival self. It is coming from the animal brain, your identity, your ego, because it's trying to control the past and the future. Right? It's your brain's always a prediction machine. It's always trying to control the future and the past. So if we over time in our lives develop these beliefs that cause us to be scared of the world, to expect the worst, to not believe that things work out for us, to not be able to trust in the beauty of this universe, if we came and grew up from a state where we are constantly worrying, we cannot trust, right? We put our focus on all these things, well, then it makes sense that obviously we're going to be anxious and worried, right? It's almost like someone's trying to swim up a river. They're forcing and forcing and forcing, saying, no, I don't want to go down the river, right? They're fighting it, they're resisting it, rather than just getting in the river and going with the flow of things. That resistance is the animal brain trying to take control and trying to control the future, the past, and trying to always just make sure that you are okay and safe and secure. But here's the thing is that when you do that and you're always trying to get that safety and security and control the external world, what more does it cause? More anxiety and worry, more chaos. It puts you in a constant fight or flight state. This is why I do not watch the news. I don't suggest you do because the media is mostly negative, constantly putting you in a negative state where you don't feel safe and secure. And that's what causes the overthinking, the anxiety, and the worry. Because remember, when you are here now in the present moment, and if you truly believed and knew that everything was working exactly perfect for you, there is not a place for anxiety and worry to live. As a human, anxiety is great for, again, if anxiety is great if you're in the woods running from a bear, right? Because then you're like thinking very fast and trying to find ways to survive. Makes sense. But when it comes to your day-to-day life, worrying about your kids, worrying about what's going to happen at your job, your relationship, all these things, then it's just suffering. So the idea behind this is to know that the way that you can change that, yes, you can do the somatic work, the nervous system work, but I found that the fastest track to changing your anxiety and worry is to change the root that is producing it in the first place. What in the world is causing me to not feel safe and secure? What in the world is causing me to not trust? So, for example, when that situation happened to me in the past and I got cheated on, I looked at it as I need to protect myself now from people. I can't trust people because they might hurt me. But again, what was I doing? Is I was saying that my happiness in my state depends on the external world and other people. Wow, what a loser's game. I'm going to lose every single time. So, what I would do is, again, I would be insecure. I would try to control certain relationships and stuff like that moving forwards. And it just caused more chaos in my mind. Because again, I was trying to grip onto something that I could not grip onto. I was trying to hold on to something that wasn't meant for me to hold on to. And I'm trying to hold on to it, and then more and more suffering would come. So now my perspective is this. My trust stays true all the time. I'm going to decide and choose to always, always choose trust. And I'm going to trust in you to do your part. And I'm also going to trust in the universe and the world and the bigger picture. That if you don't do your part, you cheat me, you do something wrong that I don't prefer, well, I look at it as that's not going to break my trust with people. That's just going to be a filter now. Oh, okay, you showed me your colors. Well, then goodbye. I'm not aligned with that. But it's not coming from a place of you did this to me, so now I need to control you to make sure that you don't go these places or do these things because it might hurt me. And this wall that I'm building up, I need to be protected. I don't do that anymore. No, it's the guard is down. Unconditional love is here. You go do what you want. I'll love you no matter what. But this is what I'm staying true to. This is what I decide to do. And if you go do these things, I'm not going to take it personal. Why do I take it personal now? The only reason why I would take that personal, allow it to affect me, is whatever belief or meaning I'm giving it. They did that to me because I'm not good looking. They did that to me because I'm not good enough. They did that to me because maybe I'm not good at this. No. They did it. Who cares? Let it go. It happened. But it doesn't need, you don't need to make it so personal. But the only way to be able to perceive it that way and to not react to the situation, right, is to change your core belief systems. How you perceive the life in total, how you perceive the world, how you perceive yourself, others, the bigger picture. So this is the key, is understanding that the anxiety and the worry, right, all these things are a creation, a manifestation from the core beliefs that you have about yourself and life. Because my and your beliefs shape the way that we give situations meaning, which means nothing has inherent meaning. Everything is just happening, but it's you that is giving the situation meaning. They cheated on me because of this, right? It means this because of that. I lost my job because of this. My boss treats me this way because I am not good enough. I deserve it. That's not actually true. It's true to you personally, but it's not the full truth. And where that is coming from, that perspective on the situation, the way that you give your situations meaning, the way that you define things, the way that you think about things, the way that you feel about things, it all comes down to your core beliefs. Boom, which is mind-blowing, right? It's mind-blowing. And throughout life, society, culture, people, think of it like this. You're this limitless, beautiful soul. And then in this human experience, you were like pushed down and clamped in with these limiting beliefs and these rules and all this stuff on how things should be, which usually comes from that safety animal brain. And it puts all these rules in place and it collapses you and it constricts you. And our job, I believe, is to let go of those, to rewire those. So that's the next, we're on stage number 3 here, is changing those core beliefs, changing your perspective on life, changing that. Finding, and what I would always say is try to find the whole truth, not your personal truth, not semi-truth. What is whole truth? Because the whole truth is always, always empowering. It's always, always going to be better. So again, I look at this situation now as, okay, that situation happened and it happened for me because now I was able to learn the lessons that control doesn't work. When I try to control other people, it doesn't work. It doesn't make things better. When I try to put my guard up and my heart up, it doesn't make relationships better. It makes them much worse. What I have to do is I have to love unconditionally, and I have to let go of what I can let go. And I have to just trust. I have to surrender to what is. Because if I'm always depending on the external world to determine my happiness and how I am, and whatever happens externally will shape how I feel internally, I'm always going to be suffering. Because events are always happening that you don't prefer in your life. But when I can control my inner state and trust that everything is happening for me, and remember, that's just a decision to believe that, by the way, right? Again, changing your perspective, changing your beliefs, that's a decision. But again, that belief is more empowering than a limiting belief of life is happening to me and I don't have control and all this bad stuff is happening and I can't handle it. That's so disempowering. Who told you that? Who told you you can't handle that? Who told you that these events that are happening in life is bad? Why can't it just be what it is? It's just happening. Remember, the way that you perceive life, the way that you give meaning to all these situations, all these events, comes from your core beliefs. Here's a wild example: death. A lot of people are so scared about death, and they worry about death, and they worry about losing their loved ones. But remember that that is your core belief about death. It's not actual the full truth. And think of it like this: other cultures celebrate death. I have a belief system that death is actually just waking up to my soul. I'm going to die as a human. It's going to happen someday. Why resist that? That's limiting. So I look at it as I'm just going to be waking back up to my soul. That this is just a human experience. And it's beautiful. So, but again, a lot of us, we have these belief systems that again, not, and oftentimes we don't even realize them. That's how powerful beliefs are. We don't even realize them. And it shapes our entire personal reality. But I want to really empower you here on this stage number 3 that we're talking about, that you get to choose what you believe in. And I promise you, the disempowering beliefs that cause you to feel upset about things in life and look through life in a negative lens is, again, because your beliefs will always support you, but you don't need to continue to believe those things. You don't need to continue those stories. You can change them. You can free yourself from it. And here's another perspective shift as well for you. For example, when it comes to, for example, let's say you can't trust in the people or you can't trust in life, so you feel the need to control things, right? Your kids, making sure everyone's safe, you're worrying about them, so you're always checking in, doing all these things, not letting your, whatever it may be, or your relationships, right? You feel the need to try to control them, influence them to do certain things. You're coming from a place of like, you just want to make sure everything is safe and secure, right? That's the route that you're coming from, is like, I just want to make sure everything's okay. But when you do that, does it feel okay? No. It feels worrisome. It feels sporadic. It feels anxious. It doesn't feel okay. It creates an illusion of control. It literally creates an illusion of safety. If I do all these things and control these people, I think I'll be safe. But what's underneath that? Underneath that is someone who is just super freaking scared. Somebody who is super scared and they just want to feel safe. So my invitation for you is I challenge you to find safety now and to not let the external world influence that, to not let the external world break that. Create an inner state where you trust so much in life, you trust so much in how things work out, you trust in yourself so much, and you constantly change and expand your perspective, your views, to the point where you're at flow again, where you don't need to control other people, where you can let people be them, let them have their own personal experience in life, and whatever happens, happens. And I challenge you to go on this journey to continue to break down these limiting beliefs and these fears that are causing the suffering in your mind. Because I've been there. I've been there many times. Getting cheating on. My business breaking down in front of my eyes. After years and years of building a business and everything falling apart in my life. Addicts in my life, in my family, struggling and suffering, and I couldn't control it. I've been there many, many times. And I'm telling you that you do not need to suffer. Suffering is a choice. It is a choice. And when you can see that, and when you can remember how powerful you truly are, and you go within and you can change those belief systems, and you expand your awareness and your perspective, your life will get 100 times better. Your life will get 100 times better. And that's the training for today. That's what I'll leave you off with for today. So I would love to hear, what was your biggest takeaway from this? What really hit home? What really sinked in for you today? And if you did enjoy this, if this helped you in any way, shape, or form, guys, please like and subscribe. Share this with a friend who might need it. And I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you Monday.